Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Government House. My name is Hugh Borroman. I have the honour to be the official secretary to Her Excellency the Governor, and I'll be the Master of Ceremonies today. This is the fifth of 6 ceremonies which we are holding to present Australian honours, most of which were announced on Australia Day this year. I will now announce the official party for today's ceremony. They are the Honourable Peter Malinauskas, Premier of South Australia, the Honourable David Spears, Leader of the Opposition, Lieutenant Commander Gary Burns, Executive Officer, representing the Commanding Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Weldon, representing the Army Area Representative South Australia, Air Commodore Margot Forster, representing the Senior Australian Defence Force Officer Edinburgh, and Chief Superintendent Graham Goodwin, representing the Commissioner of Police. Can I please ask you now if you are able to stand for the arrival of Her Excellency and Mr Bunton and to remain standing for the playing of the Vice-Regal Salute.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to begin with an acknowledgement of country in the Kaurna language. Kaurna bogana alia, Kaurna miana alia, yaichi miana alia, kumatana yartananku. I acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and I pay my respects to the elders. Now, welcome everyone, a particular welcome and obviously congratulations to those I'm about to invest, either as members of the Order of Australia or with an Order of Australia medal. I want to congratulate you and thank you for your outstanding service. But a particular welcome obviously to your invited guests. Typically those who've supported you longest, some of them for a lifetime, some of them family members, friends, those you love most and want to be here on a very special occasion. We all want you all, Rod and I, to feel very much at home here in Government House. Our approach has been to make this a house for all South Australians and the Gardens too. And we want those whose service we're acknowledging to feel as comfortable as you walk up here and stand in front of everybody. A little daunting prospect perhaps, but to feel as comfortable doing that as you have every day for the service that you've given. For those in the front section, of course you'll know intimately the details of the service of the person that you're here to support. You may know one or two, you may have heard of one or two others, but in the course of the next 40 minutes, you will come to realise just how extraordinary the service that we're recognising is. It all comes under the banner of the Order of Australia, our national honours system. And when you add it all up, if you could add it all up, it's something quite extraordinary. And that's why it's special not only for you here, but also for our special guest today. It's why, because this is important to our state and our nation, it's why the Premier's here. It's why the Leader of the Opposition is here. Both of them have been represented every day by ministers and shadow ministers, and it's wonderful to have them here in person today. It's also why the heads or their representatives of the Army, Navy, Air Force and South Australia Police are here, because they too recognise the value of the service that is being given. It's also why the Order of Australia Association in South Australia is represented. It's wonderful to have Don, you here, representing the chair, and Rick Morris, who is South Australia's representative on the Order of Australia Council, the decision-making body. It meets in Canberra. It's not sort of Canberra-centric. Everyone comes together, and Rick reads typically thousands of pages of references to do that. So it's more meaningful, in other words, than just the meaning for you. It matters for our state. The final point I want to make, really with that in mind, is everyone is here today because someone recognised in those I'm about to invest outstanding service or some special achievement, and they nominated them. The whole point about our National Honours Scheme, it doesn't work from on high, it works because Australians nominate other Australians. And I encourage you, please, because there are so many other Australians, including here in South Australia, whose service is worthy of acknowledgement. So please nominate them, encourage your friends and colleagues to seek out service and see it rewarded. Official Secretary, over to you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the following recipients have been appointed a Member of the Order of Australia in the General Division. Ms. Juliet Helena Brown is recognised for significant service to the insurance and superannuation industries. Ms. Brown has contributed her highly regarded expertise in governance, law and business at senior levels across both the public and private sectors. She has served on the boards of numerous high-profile organisations, including the Motor Accident Commission, Statewide Super, the Cancer Council, the RAA, the South Australian Financing Authority Advisory Board, the Commonwealth Superannuation Corporation, and the Medical Insurance Group Australia. Known for combining compassion with her extensive business and legal acumen, she has also served as Chair of the Lifetime Support Authority, which provides treatment, care and support for people who have been seriously injured in motor vehicle accidents. She has also served at Catherine House, which offers accommodation and support services for homeless women, and the Barossa Hills Fleurieu Local Health Network. Before her long career in non-executive management, she was a commercial lawyer with Finlayson's Lawyers and O'Loughlin Lawyers, before leading Thomson Playford Lawyers, now Thomson Greer, as Chief Executive from 1999 to 2004, overseeing the establishment of offices in Sydney and Melbourne. Currently a member of the Council of the University of Adelaide, she has also served as an external member of its Audit and Risk Committee. Ms. Juliet Helena Brown. Ms. Mary Petetsos is recognised for significant service to multicultural affairs and to aged care through board positions. With a unique blend of qualifications and expertise, as well as the desire to achieve positive experiences for all, Ms. Petetsos is an asset to the multicultural and aged communities. She has advocated for Australia's multicultural community for some 3 decades, most recently as Chair and Honorary President of the Federation of Ethnic Communities Councils of Australia. Starting her career as a caseworker in a public hospital, Ms. Petetsos continues to have a strong focus on health, serving as Chair of the Board of St John Ambulance SA and a board member of the Northern Area Local Health Network. She is Board Chair of the ACH Group, a not-for-profit aged care provider, and has helped shape aged care reform as a member of the National Aged Care Advisory Council. Ms. Petetsos' specific skills include audit and financial analysis, particularly within housing and aged care, and last year she was appointed as the presiding member of the South Australian Housing Trust Board. She is also Chair of the Port Adelaide Football Club, a council member of the University of South Australia, and past Chair of the University of Adelaide's Robertson Institute Foundation. Ms. Mary Petetsos. The Venerable Canon Professor Peter Sandeman is recognised for significant service to the Anglican Church of Australia and to the community of South Australia. Empowering vulnerable communities is the thread that runs through all Professor Sandeman has achieved in his career. From the years he dedicated to Anglicare as CEO, to his current role as a Director at the South Australian Housing Authority and Archdeacon and Canon for Social Justice at the Anglican Diocese, Mr. Sandeman's passion for social equality and reform has touched many lives. He has also been Chair of the Society of the Sacred Mission, a charity support group for young people, and the South Australian Alliance to End Homelessness. Of Mr. Sandeman's most rewarding career moments, his work in increasing students into vocational educational programs in Adelaide's northern suburbs is one of the most impressive. His efforts increased student enrolments from 60 to 600 per year by inspiring schools to work together. He continues to contribute to the Safe Ministry Commission to protect children in the church. Outside of the church and community sector, Mr. Sandeman is an adjunct professor at the Centre for Social Impact at Flinders University. The Venerable Canon Professor Peter Sandeman. Professor Barbara Spears is recognised for significant service to tertiary education, to research and to youth. Dr. Spears is an adjunct professor of education and social development at the University of South Australia and is a leading voice on well-being and the role of technology in young people's lives. Her research has informed how governments approach youth well-being issues and has inspired policy changes now adopted in schools nationwide. She has led a range of major projects to shed light on the relationships between social media, cyberbullying and well-being, and working with young people to find solutions. Professor Spears has served as chair of the Australian University's Anti-Bullying Research Alliance and the South Australian Charter for Children and Young People's subcommittee of the Child Development Council. As a leading international researcher, Professor Spears has penned over 100 articles and reports capturing the cultural and social effects of technology on young Australians' well-being, the future leaders of this country. Professor Barbara Spears. Your Excellency, the Medal of the Order of Australia in the General Division has been awarded to the following recipients. Mrs. Veronica Aldridge is recognised for service to the arts. Mrs. Aldridge has been instrumental in bringing music to South Australian schools for almost 20 years, helping shape the lives of generations of our state's children. In 2008, she founded the Equal Music Program, an initiative that provides financial assistance to schools which cannot access music for geographic or economic reasons. Mrs. Aldridge has been a long-time supporter showcasing classical music in schools, including through the National Strike a Chord Chamber Music Championship. Through her ongoing patronage of the Australian String Quartet, the Art Gallery of South Australia, and the Australian Ballet, she has made art more accessible for the state's broader community. Her mission to enrich the community through music also includes supporting local events such as the McLaren Vale Music Festival Association and the Corriol Music Festival. Mrs. Veronica Aldridge. Mr. Howard Philip Branson is recognised for service to the community of West Adelaide. Each year, Mr. Branson spreads Christmas cheer throughout the western suburbs of Adelaide with his spectacular festive light display. His generous nature extends to the wider community, having raised tens of thousands of dollars for the Cancer Council and the Sammy D Foundation. Mr. Branson's service goes back 40 years when he joined the West Adelaide Football Club's cheer squad. Since then, he has been an active volunteer at several local clubs, including Happy Valley, Flagstaff Hill, and Flinders Park. His dedication to the game and cultivating football's next legends saw him appointed as manager of the West Adelaide and Adelaide Crows Mini League. Now in retirement, Mr. Branson continues to serve the western suburbs by volunteering at Meals on Wheels. Mr. Howard Philip Branson. Ms. Alexandria Cannon is recognised for service to business. Ms. Cannon has helped to develop wiser leaders for South Australia for close to 3 decades by sharing her expertise in governance and business capacity. Driven by a passion for leadership development and mentoring emerging leaders, Ms. Cannon has worked with a wide range of groups, including the Winston Churchill Memorial Trust and the Leaders Institute of South Australia. Ms. Cannon's extensive executive experience includes 16 years with Credit Union SA, where, as chair, she oversaw the merger of 2 credit unions and the management of 140 staff. Her impressively long list of board and committee involvements include a broad range of sectors, including fine arts, not-for-profits, and community work. Ms. Cannon is currently the chair of the SA Tertiary Admissions Centre, the inaugural chair of the Uni-SA MBA Advisory Committee, and is a director of COTA SA, formerly the Council on the Ageing. Ms. Alexandria Cannon. Mr. Nicholas Chapley is recognised for service to the community through charitable organisations. From humble beginnings as a Greek migrant to owner of the world's best supermarket as voted by the Independent Grocers Alliance, Mr. Chapley has matched his passion for business with dedication to community. Through his family-owned retail chain, Australia's Finest Supermarkets, Mr. Chapley has raised countless funds for charity and emergency relief efforts over a span of 70 years. He has supported the Icarian Association, the food rescue organisation Second Bite, and the Sturt Football Club, and was a long-time supporter of the Glenunga Football Club. In 2006, Mr. Chapley co-founded Youth Incorporated, a school for young people who seek an alternative to conventional education. Mr. Chapley's innovative drive can be seen at his award-winning supermarkets at Frueville and Pasadena, which have a proud history of supporting local farmers, growers and suppliers. Following the devastating 2019-20 bushfire season, Mr. Chapley's supermarket developed several in-store initiatives aimed at directly supporting both Kangaroo Island and Adelaide Hills producers. Mr. Nicholas Chapley. Mr. Russell Ernest Duncan is recognised for service to the community through not-for-profit organisations. Mr. Duncan is a well-known face around the Adelaide sporting community. He is a life member of the Contacts Netball Club and a former member of its management committee. He has volunteered at the club for more than 30 years. He has also volunteered for 3 decades with Baseball South Australia, chairing the Adelaide Giants Advisory Board from 2015 to 2019. He ran the Adelaide 36ers Supporters Club for many years, and in 2000 won an Australian Sports Medal for service to basketball. Aside from his sporting commitments, Mr. Duncan volunteers with the Mary Potter Foundation, the Royal Flying Doctor Service Central Operations, and the Little Heroes Foundation. Before retirement, he worked as sponsorship manager for South Australian Power Networks. Mr. Russell Ernest Duncan. Dr. Sharon Lorraine Maskell-Dare is recognised for service to media as a journalist. Dr. Maskell-Dare is an award-winning journalist turned specialist service officer in the Australian Army Reserve. She both produced and reported for the BBC, ABC and The Age, covering European affairs, wars and human rights issues. After 30 years in media, Dr. Maskell-Dare joined the Army, where she currently serves as Military Public Affairs Officer. Her love for telling stories continues, co-producing and presenting numerous Australian Defence Force podcasts. Dr. Maskell-Dare is an adjunct associate professor for the Department of Justice and Society at the University of South Australia. In 2015, she was named on the Government of South Australia's Women's Honour Roll for her services to the media and journalism education, most notably for her reporting of the Indigenous affairs and the Anzac Centenary. Dr. Sharon Lorraine Maskell-Dare. Ms. Robin Joy Pearson-Robertson is recognised for service to business. Ms. Pearson-Robertson is a principal at her long-standing chartered accounting practice. During her 30 years in business, she has been heavily involved in Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand, currently as chair of the South Australia and Northern Territory Division. An advocate for women in business, Ms. Pearson-Robertson held several roles, including auditor at the Asia Pacific Business Council for Women, where she won the Women of Distinction Award. She was course lead and mentor for the Women Starting Up a Business course at the Workers' Educational Association of South Australia, and has penned business advice articles and captivated audiences on stage as a guest speaker. From financial planning to women's empowerment, Ms. Pearson-Robertson has made her mark on the business world. Ms. Robin Joy Pearson-Robertson. Mr. Graham Pitt is recognised for service to the church and to music. Mr. Pitt has dedicated his life to his twin passions of music and ministry. He worked as a minister with the Baptist Church, first in Victoria and later in Adelaide, serving at North Adelaide Baptist Church and Flinders Street Baptist Church. He also worked for several years as an administrator for South Australia Baptist Homes for the Aged and for a brief time as a social worker at the Adelaide Children's Hospital. Concurrently, Mr. Pitt has pursued his love of choral music. He's been a chorus member for the State Opera of South Australia and a member of the Corinthian Singers of Adelaide and auditioned chamber choir. Since 2001, he has led the Tuesdays on Flinders concerts, a free music concert held every week at the Flinders Street Baptist Church, where he provides a platform for talented church artists. Mr. Graham Pitt. Mr. Bevan Sidney Treloar is recognised for service to the community through a range of roles. Mr. Treloar has dedicated an amazing 53 years to Lions Australia, including in leadership positions such as District Governor, and he has also served the community for 35 years as a Justice of the Peace. In his former role as a bank manager who relocated often for work, he has served several Lions clubs in the state, including Naracoorte, Onkaparinga, Keith and Campbelltown. His lifetime commitment has been recognised with several Lions Australia awards, including the Chevron Award, the James Richardson Fellowship and the Melvin Jones Progressive Fellowship. In his role as a Justice of the Peace, he has served as member and treasurer of the Central Hills Group, which trains Adelaide Hills residents to be JPs. Mr. Treloar is a true servant of the community in his contributions to myriad charitable endeavours. Mr. Bevan Sidney Treloar. Mr. John Walter Woodside is recognised for service to the construction industry. Mr. Woodside is a distinguished engineer with more than 50 years of experience in structural engineering, in particular concrete buildings. He's been involved in seismic design in Australia for several decades. Working with Standards Australia, he was chair of the Standards Committee responsible for revisions to the ceiling standard and the subcommittee chairman for the earthquake standard. Mr. Woodside worked for 24 years with Connell Wagner, now Oricon, and in 2001 established J. Woodside Consulting to provide specialist advice to the building industry on project management and specialist structural matters. In recognition of his long and meritorious service to the industry, he was made an honorary member of the Concrete Institute of Australia in 2005. The recipient of copious awards, he is also recognised for his contribution to teaching at the Universities of Melbourne and Adelaide. Mr. John Walter Woodside. Your Excellency, that concludes the presentations for this morning.
Thank you, Official Secretary, and I hope you'll agree, everyone. I mean, just as you listen to the citations, as you see your fellow citizens walking forward, as you sort of look at their faces and gain an understanding of what they've done, it really is possible to serve our country in literally any field, to do it in an outstanding way and to be recognised for it. So shall we all, for one last time, congratulate all of today's recipients.